What if I told you that the biggest limits in your life are not in your bank account, not in your environment, and not in other people, but inside your own brain? Right now, millions of people are living far below their true potential, not because they are weak, not because they lack talent, but because they have been trained to think small, feel fear, and accept a normal life. But what if normal is the real problem? What if your brain has hidden abilities waiting to be activated? Abilities that can help you think faster, focus deeper, stay calmer, and achieve goals that once felt impossible. In this video, you will discover powerful mental principles that can help you break out of ordinary thinking and begin the journey of becoming supernatural. Chapter 1. The Prison of Normal Thinking. From childhood, most people are taught to be realistic, careful, and to stay within safe limits. While this guidance is meant to protect us, it also shapes the way we think about ourselves and our future. Slowly, we begin to believe that certain dreams are too big, certain risks are too dangerous, and certain goals are not meant for us. These ideas become invisible walls in the mind. They are not physical barriers, but they strongly influence what we attempt and what we avoid. When you keep thinking in the same normal way, your life follows a predictable path. You make safe choices, experience familiar emotions, and achieve ordinary results. Nothing truly changes because your mindset remains the same. However, supernatural growth begins the moment you question these mental patterns and realize that many limits exist only because you have accepted them. Science shows that the brain is always changing. This means your thoughts and habits can reshape how your mind works. If you repeatedly focus on fear and doubt, your brain becomes better at producing them. But if you consciously practice confidence, hope, and determination, new positive pathways begin to form. The first step toward becoming supernatural is understanding that your mindset is not permanent. It can be trained and redesigned. When you accept this truth, you stop feeling like a victim of circumstances and start becoming the creator of your own inner world. Chapter 2. Rewiring the Brain for Limitless Potential. Most people live their lives on mental autopilot. They wake up with the same thoughts, react in the same ways, and follow the same routines every day. Over time, this repetition creates strong mental patterns that feel normal and comfortable, but these patterns can also limit growth. When your mind keeps running old programs, it becomes difficult to imagine new possibilities or take bold actions. Rewiring the brain begins with awareness. You start noticing your thoughts instead of blindly following them. You question negative beliefs and replace them with more empowering ones. This process may feel uncomfortable at first because the brain naturally prefers familiar habits. However, with consistent effort, new ways of thinking start to feel natural. Simple practices like visualization, focused learning, and positive self-talk can help create new neural pathways. When you repeatedly imagine success and act with intention, your brain begins to support confidence, creativity, and resilience. Over time, your mindset shifts from limitation to possibility. Training your brain in this way unlocks hidden potential. You stop reacting to life and start shaping it consciously. This is the moment when ordinary thinking fades and a more powerful, purposeful version of you begins to emerge. Chapter 3. The Power of Elevated Emotions. Most people spend a large part of their lives living in survival emotions. These emotions include stress, fear, anger, jealousy, frustration, and constant worry about the future. While these feelings are natural in difficult situations, many individuals remain stuck in them even when there is no real danger. Over time, survival emotions become a habit. The body starts expecting stress, and the mind begins to look for problems even when things are going well. This creates a cycle where negative thinking produces negative emotions, and negative emotions strengthen negative thinking. When a person lives in this state for too long, their brain and body remain in a defensive mode. In this mode, creativity becomes limited, decision-making becomes reactive, and the ability to see new opportunities decreases. The mind focuses more on avoiding pain than on creating growth. This is why many people feel tired, overwhelmed, or stuck, even if they are working hard. They are using most of their mental energy just to survive emotionally. Elevated emotions are completely different. These emotions include gratitude, inspiration, joy, love for learning, deep focus, and a strong sense of purpose. When you experience elevated emotions, your brain chemistry begins to change. The body shifts from a defensive state to a growth state. You start thinking more clearly, learning faster, and responding to challenges with calm confidence instead of panic. One powerful truth is that elevated emotions do not always come from external success. Many people believe they will feel happy or confident only after achieving something big. However, supernatural growth happens when you learn to generate these emotions from within. For example, practicing daily gratitude can slowly train your brain to focus on progress instead of problems. Visualizing meaningful goals can create excitement and motivation even before results appear. Spending time in deep concentration on important tasks can create a sense of inner strength and clarity. When you consciously practice elevated emotions, you begin to recondition your nervous system. You teach your body that it is safe to move beyond fear and safe to think bigger. This emotional training builds resilience. Instead of collapsing under pressure, you learn to stay stable and focused. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond with intention. Over time, this emotional mastery becomes one of the greatest advantages you can have. Living with elevated emotions also changes how you see the world. Challenges start to look like lessons. Failures start to look like feedback. Difficult moments become opportunities to grow stronger. This shift in perception is what separates ordinary thinking from supernatural thinking. It is not that supernatural individuals never feel fear or stress. It is that they do not allow these emotions to control their direction. By choosing elevated emotions again and again, you gradually transform your inner environment. And when your inner environment becomes more powerful, your actions become more purposeful. Your goals become clearer. Your confidence becomes deeper. This is how emotional energy turns into mental strength, and mental strength turns into real-life transformation. Chapter 4. Breaking the habit of being yourself. One of the most powerful yet difficult steps in becoming supernatural is learning to move beyond the identity you have carried for years. Most people believe their personality, habits, and reactions are permanent parts of who they are. They say things like, "This is just how I am," or "I can't change." But in reality, much of what you call your personality is simply a collection of repeated thoughts, emotional patterns, and learned behaviors. Over time, these patterns become so familiar that they feel like your true self. From past experiences, you may have developed certain beliefs about your abilities, your worth, and your limits. Maybe you were criticized, compared, rejected, or faced failure at some point. These moments can leave deep impressions on the mind. Slowly, you begin to act in ways that protect you from feeling that pain again. You avoid risks, stay in comfortable routines, and lower your expectations. This creates an identity based more on past survival than on future potential. Breaking the habit of being your old self means becoming aware of these unconscious patterns. It means noticing how you react to challenges, how you speak to yourself in difficult moments, and how quickly you return to familiar comfort zones. This awareness is powerful because you cannot change what you do not see. When you begin to observe your own behavior without judgment, you create space for transformation. Real change often feels uncomfortable at first. The brain prefers predictability because it feels safe. When you try new ways of thinking or acting, your mind may resist. You might feel doubt, fear, or even the urge to give up. This does not mean you are doing something wrong. It means you are stepping outside old conditioning. Growth always begins where familiarity ends. To break old habits, you must start making small but intentional changes. This could mean speaking more confidently, taking action even when you feel uncertain, or choosing discipline over instant comfort. Each new decision sends a signal to the brain that a different version of you is emerging. With repetition, these new behaviors begin to form fresh neural pathways. Over time, what once felt unnatural starts to feel normal. Another important part of this process is creating a clear vision of who you want to become. Without direction, change can feel confusing and exhausting. When you define your future identity, whether it is more focused, more courageous, more creative, or more emotionally balanced, your actions gain purpose. You are no longer just trying to escape your past. You are actively moving toward a stronger and more evolved self. Breaking the habit of being yourself also requires patience. Transformation is not an overnight event. There will be days when old patterns return and motivation feels low. In these moments, consistency matters more than perfection. Every time you choose progress over comfort, you strengthen the new identity you are building. Eventually, you begin to notice a powerful shift. Situations that once triggered fear no longer control you. Decisions that once felt impossible become manageable. You start responding to life with greater clarity and strength. This is the point where you realize that identity is not fixed, it is designed. By consciously shaping your thoughts, emotions, and actions, you step into a version of yourself that is no longer limited by the past. This is how the journey from ordinary living to supernatural growth truly begins. Chapter 5. Focus, the superpower of the modern mind. In today's fast-moving world, attention has become one of the most valuable resources a person can have. Every day, your mind is pulled in different directions by notifications, social media, worries about the future, memories of the past, and the pressure to keep up with others. When your focus is constantly divided, your mental energy becomes weak and scattered. You may feel busy all the time, yet still feel like you are not moving forward. This is because true progress requires deep and consistent concentration. Focus is not just about working harder, it is about directing your awareness toward what truly matters. When you learn to focus, you train your brain to stay present instead of being controlled by distractions. This ability allows you to think more clearly, make better decisions, and use your time more effectively. A focused mind can solve problems faster and learn new skills with greater ease. Over time, this creates a powerful sense of confidence and inner control. However, building focus is not always easy. The brain naturally seeks instant rewards and quick stimulation. Checking your phone, switching tasks frequently, or avoiding difficult work can feel comfortable in the moment. But these habits slowly weaken your ability to concentrate. To develop supernatural mental strength, you must train yourself to stay with important tasks even when they feel challenging or uncomfortable. This discipline strengthens your mental endurance, just like physical exercise strengthens the body. Creating an environment that supports focus is also important. Simple changes like reducing noise, setting clear goals, and scheduling dedicated time for deep work can make a big difference. When you remove unnecessary distractions, your mind has the space to enter a state of flow. In this state, time seems to pass quickly and your productivity increases naturally. Many of the world's most successful individuals rely on deep focus sessions to produce meaningful results and creative breakthroughs. Focus also improves emotional stability. When you are fully present, negative thoughts lose some of their power because your attention is not feeding them. Instead of reacting impulsively to stress or frustration, you become more thoughtful and intentional. This calm awareness helps you respond wisely in difficult situations. As your focus grows stronger, your mind becomes less influenced by external noise and more guided by inner clarity. Over time, consistent focus transforms not only your work, but also your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who can commit, persist, and achieve. Small daily improvements start to compound into significant progress. Goals that once seemed distant start to feel attainable because you are taking steady, purposeful action. This is why focus is often called a modern superpower. In a world full of distractions, the ability to concentrate deeply gives you a powerful advantage. When you train your mind to focus with intention and patience, you unlock higher levels of performance and creativity. You move from scattered effort to meaningful achievement. This shift marks an important step in the journey toward becoming supernatural, a life where your energy is not wasted, but directed toward building the future you truly desire. Chapter 6. Visualizing the impossible until it becomes real. Every great achievement begins as an idea that seems unrealistic at first. Before something exists in the physical world, it must first exist in the mind. This is where visualization becomes a powerful mental tool. Visualization is the practice of creating clear and detailed images of your desired future. It is not about daydreaming without action. It is about mentally preparing yourself to step into possibilities that once felt out of reach. Most people limit themselves because they cannot clearly imagine a different life. They focus more on current problems than on future potential. As a result, their actions remain small and cautious. But when you train your mind to repeatedly see a stronger, more confident version of yourself, your brain begins to accept this image as a real direction rather than a distant fantasy. This shift changes how you feel, how you decide, and how you act. Scientific studies show that the brain often responds to vivid mental rehearsal in ways similar to real experiences. Athletes, performers, and successful leaders use visualization to prepare for important moments. They mentally practice winning, overcoming challenges, and staying calm under pressure. This reduces fear and increases readiness. When the real situation arrives, it feels more familiar because the mind has already experienced it many times. To use visualization effectively, it is important to be specific. Instead of vaguely wishing for success, imagine the details. Picture where you are, what you are doing, how you are speaking, and how confident you feel. Notice the emotions connected to your vision: excitement, determination, and gratitude. These emotions strengthen the mental image and help create new neural pathways in the brain. Over time, your nervous system begins to align with the future you are creating. Visualization also helps you face obstacles with courage. When you mentally rehearse solving problems and staying focused, you build inner resilience. You stop seeing challenges as threats and start seeing them as part of the journey. This mindset encourages consistent action, which turns imagination into real progress. Without action, visualization remains only a thought. With action, it becomes a roadmap for transformation. Another important benefit of visualization is clarity. Many people feel stuck not because they lack ability, but because they lack direction. When your goals are unclear, your efforts become scattered. Visualization forces you to define what you truly want and why it matters. This clarity gives meaning to your daily habits and strengthens your motivation. You begin to wake up with purpose instead of confusion. Over time, the line between what feels impossible and what feels achievable starts to change. Dreams that once seemed distant begin to look realistic because your mind has accepted them as part of your identity. You start behaving differently, taking smarter risks, learning faster, and persisting longer. This is the moment when your inner vision begins shaping your outer reality. By consistently visualizing your highest potential and taking steps toward it, you train your brain to move beyond fear and limitation. You develop the courage to pursue goals that others may doubt. This process does not guarantee instant success, but it builds the mental strength required to keep moving forward. In this way, visualization becomes a bridge between who you are today and who you are capable of becoming. Chapter 7. Living Beyond Limits, the Supernatural Lifestyle. Becoming supernatural is not a single breakthrough moment or a temporary burst of motivation. It is a lifestyle, a continuous commitment to evolving your mindset, your habits, and your awareness. Many people experience short periods of inspiration, but they eventually return to old patterns because they never truly change the way they live. A supernatural life begins when growth becomes your daily standard, not just an occasional effort. Living beyond limits means understanding that comfort and progress rarely exist together. The mind naturally seeks safety and familiarity. It prefers routines that feel predictable, even if they lead to an average life. But supernatural individuals learn to challenge this instinct. They choose discipline over distraction, purpose over temporary pleasure, and long-term vision over short-term comfort. This does not mean they never rest or enjoy life. It means they remain conscious of their direction and do not allow comfort to become a trap. One of the most important aspects of this lifestyle is personal responsibility. Instead of blaming circumstances, other people, or bad luck, supernatural thinkers focus on what they can control: their thoughts, reactions, and daily actions. They understand that while they cannot control every event in life, they can always control their response. This mindset creates inner strength. It removes the feeling of helplessness and replaces it with a sense of empowerment. Energy management also plays a powerful role in living beyond limits. Every day, your attention and emotional state determine how effectively you perform. If you allow negativity, constant comparison, or unnecessary stress to dominate your mind, your energy becomes drained. Supernatural individuals protect their mental space. They are selective about what they consume, what conversations they engage in, and how they spend their time. They prioritize activities that strengthen clarity, creativity, and emotional balance. Another key element of this lifestyle is intentional habit building. Success is rarely the result of one dramatic action. It is usually the result of small, consistent behaviors repeated over time. Waking up with purpose, maintaining focus during work, investing time in learning, and practicing emotional control are examples of habits that gradually shape an extraordinary life. At first, these habits may feel difficult or unnatural, but with repetition, they become part of your identity. This is how ordinary effort turns into supernatural discipline. Living beyond limits also requires the courage to step into uncertainty. Growth often demands that you take risks without guaranteed outcomes. Whether it is starting a new path, learning a challenging skill, or changing your environment, uncertainty can create fear. However, supernatural individuals do not wait for fear to disappear. They act despite fear, knowing that confidence is built through action, not through waiting. Each step outside the comfort zone strengthens resilience and expands mental capacity. Relationships and environment influence this journey as well. The people you surround yourself with can either elevate your mindset or keep you stuck in old thinking patterns. Supernatural thinkers seek environments that encourage progress, accountability, and positive challenge. They learn from mentors, collaborate with growth-oriented individuals, and distance themselves from constant negativity. This does not mean abandoning compassion or connection. It means recognizing that your environment shapes your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your future. Self-reflection is another powerful practice in this lifestyle. Instead of moving through life unconsciously, supernatural individuals regularly pause to evaluate their direction. They ask themselves important questions. Am I growing? Am I using my time wisely? Am I acting according to my highest potential? This awareness prevents stagnation and helps them adjust their actions before small mistakes turn into long-term setbacks. Reflection creates clarity, and clarity strengthens purpose. As this lifestyle develops, something profound begins to happen. Challenges that once felt overwhelming start to feel manageable. Failures no longer destroy confidence. They become lessons that sharpen strategy and strengthen character. You begin to notice a deeper sense of calm, even during uncertainty. This calm does not come from external security, but from inner mastery. You trust your ability to adapt, learn, and continue moving forward. Living beyond limits also changes how you define success. Instead of measuring your worth only through money, recognition, or external achievements, you begin to value self-mastery. You appreciate the discipline it takes to stay focused, the courage it takes to take risks, and the patience it takes to keep improving. External success becomes a natural outcome of internal growth rather than the only goal. This shift creates lasting fulfillment because it is based on who you are becoming, not just on what you are gaining. Consistency is the foundation of this supernatural lifestyle. There will be days of doubt, fatigue, and distraction. There will be moments when progress feels slow or invisible. During these times, many people give up and return to ordinary habits. But supernatural individuals continue. They understand that transformation is a long journey. Each small step forward strengthens neural pathways, emotional resilience, and mental clarity. Over time, the accumulation of these steps creates powerful change. Another important realization is that becoming supernatural does not mean becoming perfect. It means becoming aware. You still experience fear, frustration, and uncertainty, but you do not let these emotions define your actions. You learn to observe them, understand them, and move forward with intention. This awareness creates freedom. Instead of being controlled by automatic reactions, you begin to live consciously. Eventually, the supernatural lifestyle becomes your natural state. Discipline feels normal, focus feels enjoyable, growth feels necessary. You no longer need constant motivation because your identity has changed. You see yourself as someone who evolves, adapts, and creates. This identity influences every decision you make, from how you spend your mornings to how you handle life's biggest challenges. At this stage, you realize that the true purpose of becoming supernatural is not to impress others or escape reality. It is to fully experience your potential. It is to live with clarity, courage, and purpose. It is to understand that the limits you once feared were never fixed boundaries, but temporary beliefs waiting to be challenged. When you commit to living beyond limits, you step into a life designed by intention rather than habit. You become the author of your direction instead of a passive observer of circumstances. And as this mindset deepens, you inspire others not through words alone, but through the strength of your example. This is the essence of the supernatural lifestyle. It is a lifelong journey of mental evolution, emotional mastery, and purposeful action. It is the decision to refuse mediocrity and to continuously expand what you believe is possible. And once you begin living this way, you realize that the greatest transformation is not just achieving extraordinary things, it is becoming an extraordinary thinker who can shape reality with discipline, vision, and unwavering belief. Chapter 8. Mental Energy Mastery. Becoming unstoppable from within. To truly become supernatural, you must understand one of the most overlooked forces in human performance: mental energy. Many people believe success is only about intelligence, talent, or hard work. But in reality, the quality of your mental energy determines how effectively you use all of these abilities. Two people can have the same knowledge and opportunities, yet achieve completely different results, simply because one knows how to manage their inner state, while the other is constantly drained by stress, distraction, and emotional confusion. Mental energy is not just about feeling motivated for a short time. It is about creating a stable inner power that supports consistent action, clear thinking, and emotional strength. When your mental energy is high, you feel focused, calm, and capable of handling challenges. When it is low, even small tasks can feel overwhelming. This is why mastering your inner energy becomes essential if you want to move beyond ordinary living. One major reason people lose mental energy is constant overthinking. The mind keeps replaying past mistakes, worrying about future problems, or comparing itself to others. This endless mental noise consumes attention and weakens confidence. Over time, it creates emotional fatigue that makes progress feel heavy. Supernatural individuals learn to recognize when their thoughts are draining them. Instead of fighting every thought, they develop the ability to observe the mind without getting trapped in it. This awareness creates mental space, allowing clarity and creativity to return. Another key factor in mental energy mastery is emotional regulation. Emotions are powerful signals, but when they remain uncontrolled, they can dominate your decisions. Fear can stop you from taking necessary risks. Anger can damage relationships and cloud judgment. Doubt can slow down action and weaken persistence. Learning to regulate emotions does not mean suppressing them. It means understanding them, processing them, and choosing responses that align with your long-term vision. This emotional intelligence protects your energy and strengthens resilience. Physical habits also play a significant role in mental power. The brain is deeply connected to the body. Poor sleep, unhealthy routines, and lack of movement can reduce concentration and increase stress. On the other hand, disciplined daily habits like proper rest, regular exercise, and mindful breathing can significantly improve cognitive performance. These simple practices create a strong foundation for mental endurance. When the body is balanced, the mind becomes sharper and more stable. Supernatural thinkers also learn the importance of intentional recovery. Constant activity without rest leads to burnout. True high performance requires cycles of deep focus followed by meaningful relaxation. This balance allows the nervous system to reset and prepares the mind for the next challenge. Quiet reflection, time in nature, or engaging in creative activities can restore mental clarity. Instead of seeing rest as weakness, supernatural individuals treat it as a strategic tool for long-term growth. Another powerful aspect of mental energy mastery is purpose-driven thinking. When your actions are connected to a meaningful goal, your mind naturally generates motivation. You no longer need external pressure to keep moving. Purpose creates inner momentum. It transforms effort into enthusiasm and difficulty into determination. Without purpose, even small challenges can feel exhausting. With purpose, you can endure intense effort because you understand why it matters. The environment you choose also influences your mental strength. Constant exposure to negativity, distractions, or unproductive habits can slowly drain your focus and optimism. Supernatural individuals become conscious of their surroundings. They create spaces that encourage deep work, learning, and emotional stability. They limit unnecessary noise and protect their attention from influences that weaken their vision. This environmental awareness helps maintain high levels of mental energy over time. Consistency is the true test of mental mastery. It is easy to feel powerful for a day or a week when motivation is high, but real transformation happens when you continue training your mind even during difficult periods. There will be moments of self-doubt, unexpected setbacks, and emotional fatigue. In these moments, supernatural thinkers rely on discipline rather than temporary feelings. They follow their routines, maintain their focus, and keep moving forward step by step. Each time they persist, their mental endurance becomes stronger. As you begin mastering your mental energy, you will notice subtle yet powerful changes. Your thoughts become more organized, your emotions become more balanced, your decisions become more intentional. You start responding to life with calm strength instead of impulsive reactions. This inner stability creates confidence that is not dependent on external approval. You trust your ability to adapt, learn, and overcome challenges. Eventually, this mastery leads to a state where action feels natural and purposeful. You are no longer wasting energy on unnecessary worries or distractions. Instead, your attention is directed toward meaningful progress. This focused energy accelerates growth and opens doors to opportunities that once seemed unreachable. Becoming unstoppable from within does not mean never feeling tired or uncertain. It means knowing how to restore your strength, refocus your mind, and continue moving toward your vision. It means understanding that your greatest resource is not time or money, it is the quality of your consciousness. When you learn to protect and expand this inner resource, you gain a powerful advantage in every area of life. Mental energy mastery is the silent force behind extraordinary achievement. It allows you to stay consistent when others quit, to remain calm when others panic, and to see possibilities when others see limits. By training your mind to generate and sustain high-quality energy, you step into a new level of performance and awareness. This is the stage where supernatural living becomes more than an idea, it becomes your reality. Chapter 9. The Identity Shift. Becoming the future version of yourself. One of the deepest transformations on the journey of becoming supernatural is not about learning new techniques or gaining more knowledge. It is about changing who you believe you are. Many people try to improve their lives by changing their goals, routines, or environments, but they still carry the same self-image inside. As long as your identity remains the same, your actions will eventually return to familiar patterns. True and lasting change begins when you consciously decide to become a new version of yourself. Identity is the story you tell yourself about who you are. It includes your beliefs about your abilities, your limits, your worth, and your role in the world. This story is built from past experiences, social conditioning, and repeated emotional reactions. If you have faced failure, rejection, or criticism, you may have unknowingly created an identity that sees struggle as normal and success as distant. Over time, this identity becomes automatic. You stop questioning it and start living according to it. To become supernatural, you must understand that identity is not fixed. It is shaped by repeated thoughts and consistent behavior. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you are becoming. When you continue acting in ways that support your highest potential, your brain begins to update its internal image of you. This process may feel slow at first, but it is powerful because identity-based change creates long-term transformation. The first step in shifting identity is clarity. You must define who you want to become. This is not just about career goals or financial success. It is about mental and emotional qualities. Do you want to become more disciplined, more courageous, more focused, more resilient? When you clearly visualize your future self, you create a direction for growth. This vision becomes a guide that influences daily decisions. Without this clarity, change becomes random and motivation weakens. After defining your future identity, the next step is alignment. This means acting in ways that match the person you are becoming, even before you feel fully ready. For example, if you want to be confident, you start practicing confident actions such as speaking with clarity, maintaining focus, and taking responsibility. If you want to be disciplined, you begin showing up for important tasks consistently. These actions send signals to the brain that the old identity is being replaced. During this transition, doubt and resistance are natural. The mind often tries to pull you back into familiar patterns because they feel safe. You may hear an inner voice saying, "This is not who you are," or "You will fail again." These thoughts are not predictions, they are echoes of past conditioning. The key is not to eliminate doubt completely, but to move forward despite it. Each time you act with intention instead of fear, you weaken the grip of the old identity. Another important aspect of identity shift is emotional reinforcement. When you celebrate small progress and acknowledge effort, you create positive emotional associations with growth. This encourages consistency. Many people wait for big results before feeling proud or satisfied. Supernatural thinkers understand that transformation is built on small wins repeated daily. They recognize improvement even when it is not visible to others. This internal validation strengthens commitment. Environment also plays a crucial role in shaping identity. The people you interact with, the content you consume, and the spaces you spend time in all influence how you see yourself. If you remain surrounded by negativity or low expectations, maintaining a powerful identity becomes difficult. This is why growth-oriented individuals seek supportive communities, mentors, and learning environments. These influences reinforce the belief that change is possible and progress is normal. Habits are the physical expression of identity. When you repeatedly follow routines that support your vision, you transform abstract goals into real-life behavior. Waking up early, dedicating time to learning, maintaining physical health, and practicing emotional control are not just tasks, they are signals that you are becoming someone who values growth. Over time, these habits reshape your self-image. What once required effort becomes automatic. As your identity evolves, your perception of challenges changes as well. Instead of seeing obstacles as threats, you begin to see them as opportunities to prove your strength. You become less afraid of failure because you understand that failure is part of development. This mindset increases resilience. You recover faster from setbacks and maintain focus on long-term progress. Confidence also grows during this process, but it is not the loud, temporary confidence based on external validation. It is a quiet inner certainty built through consistent action. You trust yourself because you have evidence of your discipline and persistence. This self-trust becomes a powerful foundation for taking bigger risks and pursuing more meaningful goals. Another transformation that occurs is the shift from reactive living to intentional living. Instead of allowing circumstances to dictate your mood and decisions, you start choosing responses that align with your future self. This conscious awareness creates freedom. You are no longer controlled by old emotional triggers or limiting beliefs. You act with purpose, even in uncertain situations. Over time, the gap between who you were and who you are becoming begins to close. You notice changes in your thinking, your energy levels, and your daily behavior. Tasks that once felt difficult become manageable. Goals that once seemed unrealistic start to look achievable. This gradual evolution strengthens motivation because you can see tangible proof of growth. The identity shift also influences how others perceive you. People begin to notice your discipline, clarity, and emotional stability. Opportunities may arise because you carry yourself differently. However, the most important change is internal. You feel a deeper sense of direction and self-respect. You understand that your life is not controlled by past labels or temporary setbacks. Eventually, this transformation leads to a powerful realization. Becoming supernatural is not about gaining extraordinary abilities that separate you from humanity. It is about fully expressing the potential that already exists within you. It is about designing an identity that supports your highest vision instead of limiting it. When you consciously shape who you are becoming, you gain control over your future in a profound way. This journey requires patience, courage, and consistency. There will be moments when progress feels slow and doubts return. But every intentional action strengthens the new identity you are building. Each disciplined choice becomes a step toward freedom from old limitations. By committing to this identity shift, you stop waiting for life to change and start changing yourself. And when you change yourself deeply enough, your reality begins to reflect that transformation. This is how ordinary thinking evolves into supernatural awareness, not through sudden miracles, but through daily decisions that align with the person you choose to become. Chapter 10. The Quantum Leap Mindset. Turning Vision into Reality. At a certain stage in your journey of becoming supernatural, you begin to realize that gradual improvement alone is not always enough. While small, consistent progress is powerful, there are moments in life that require bold transformation. These moments demand a shift so deep that it feels like a leap into the unknown. This is where the quantum leap mindset becomes essential. It is the ability to move beyond incremental thinking and step into a completely new level of awareness, action, and belief. Most people live within linear expectations. They believe success must come slowly, that opportunities are limited, and that extraordinary outcomes are rare. This way of thinking creates invisible ceilings. It keeps ambition small and risk tolerance low. However, history shows that many breakthroughs happen suddenly after years of preparation. What appears like an overnight success is often the result of a powerful internal shift followed by decisive action. The quantum leap mindset begins with expanding your vision. Instead of asking, "What is realistic for me?" you start asking, "What is truly possible if I give my best?" This question changes how you approach goals. You stop settling for safe achievements and begin exploring potential that excites and challenges you. A bigger vision activates deeper motivation because it connects with purpose rather than fear. Another important aspect of this mindset is detachment from limiting timelines. Many people give up on their dreams because progress does not happen as quickly as they expected. They compare their journey with others and feel discouraged. Supernatural thinkers understand that transformation does not follow a fixed schedule. They focus on daily improvement and trust that breakthroughs will come when preparation meets opportunity. This patience creates emotional stability and prevents burnout. Belief plays a crucial role in making quantum leaps possible. Belief is not blind optimism, it is a trained mental state built through repetition and evidence. When you consistently take action toward your goals, even small victories begin to strengthen your confidence. Over time, your brain learns to associate effort with progress. This creates a positive feedback loop that fuels persistence. Eventually, belief becomes strong enough to support bold decisions that once felt impossible. Taking calculated risks is another defining feature of this mindset. Growth requires stepping into uncertainty. Whether it is starting a new venture, changing your environment, or learning a demanding skill, risk creates discomfort. However, supernatural individuals do not view risk as danger alone. They see it as an opportunity to expand capacity. They prepare carefully, gather knowledge, and then act with courage. This balance between preparation and boldness increases the chances of meaningful breakthroughs. Mental flexibility is also essential for quantum leaps. Rigid thinking limits adaptation. When plans change or obstacles appear, an inflexible mind becomes frustrated and stuck. A flexible mind, on the other hand, adjusts strategies while keeping the vision intact. This adaptability allows you to learn from mistakes instead of being defeated by them. It transforms setbacks into valuable lessons that accelerate growth. Emotional strength supports this process as well. Major transformation often brings temporary chaos. Old routines disappear, familiar comfort zones shrink, and uncertainty increases. During these periods, fear and self-doubt may intensify. The quantum leap mindset requires staying grounded despite these emotional waves. Practices like reflection, mindfulness, and disciplined routines help maintain stability. When your inner state remains balanced, you can make wiser decisions even in unpredictable situations. Another powerful component is strategic focus. While having a big vision is important, scattering your energy across too many goals can slow progress. Supernatural performers learn to prioritize. They identify the few actions that create the greatest impact and commit to them deeply. This concentrated effort accelerates results and builds momentum. As progress becomes visible, motivation strengthens and the possibility of a breakthrough increases. Environment once again plays a vital role. Surrounding yourself with people who think expansively can inspire courage and innovation. Conversations with growth-oriented individuals challenge limiting beliefs and introduce new perspectives. Exposure to knowledge, mentorship, and creative collaboration expands awareness. This supportive ecosystem increases the likelihood of transformative ideas and opportunities emerging. The quantum leap mindset also involves redefining failure. Instead of seeing failure as a final judgment, you begin to view it as feedback. Each unsuccessful attempt provides data about what works and what does not. This analytical approach reduces emotional attachment to outcomes and encourages continuous experimentation. Over time, you become more resilient because you understand that progress is rarely a straight line. As you practice this mindset, you may start experiencing moments where clarity and opportunity align unexpectedly. Ideas flow more easily. Decisions feel more intuitive. Effort seems to produce larger results. These moments are not accidents. They are the natural outcome of sustained preparation combined with courageous action. They represent the turning points where vision begins to transform into reality. However, sustaining a quantum leap requires humility and continuous learning. Achieving a higher level of success does not mean growth is complete. New challenges will arise, demanding further adaptation. Supernatural individuals remain students of life. They refine their skills, update their strategies, and maintain curiosity. This openness ensures that progress continues rather than stagnates. Ultimately, the quantum leap mindset is about believing in your capacity to evolve beyond current limitations. It is about understanding that reality is influenced by perception, action, and persistence. When you expand your vision, strengthen your belief, take courageous risks, and stay consistent in your efforts, you create conditions where extraordinary change becomes possible. This transformation does not happen by waiting for perfect circumstances. It happens by preparing your mind, aligning your actions, and stepping forward even when certainty is incomplete. Each bold decision becomes a doorway to new opportunities. Each disciplined habit becomes a foundation for greater achievement. In this way, the quantum leap mindset turns life into an ongoing journey of expansion. You no longer see yourself as confined by past results or current limitations. Instead, you recognize your ability to shape the future through conscious intention and relentless growth. This realization marks one of the most powerful stages of becoming supernatural, the stage where vision is no longer just imagined, but actively lived. Chapter 11. Total Self-Mastery, the final evolution of the supernatural mind. At the highest level of personal transformation, the journey of becoming supernatural reaches a stage called self-mastery. This is not about controlling the world around you. It is about gaining deep awareness and control over your inner world, your thoughts, emotions, habits, reactions, and decisions. Most people spend their entire lives trying to change external situations while ignoring the most powerful influence they have, their own mind. True supernatural growth happens when you stop being controlled by your impulses and begin consciously shaping your behavior. Self-mastery begins with radical honesty. You must be willing to observe yourself without excuses. Many people avoid looking at their weaknesses because it feels uncomfortable. They blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck for their struggles. But supernatural thinkers understand that growth starts with responsibility. When you admit where you are losing focus, wasting time, or reacting emotionally, you create the opportunity to improve. Awareness becomes the first tool of transformation. Another essential element of self-mastery is emotional discipline. Emotions are powerful forces that can either guide or control you. Anger can push you toward destructive decisions. Fear can freeze progress. Excessive comfort can lead to laziness. Mastery does not mean eliminating emotions. It means learning to experience them without becoming a slave to them. When you feel stress, you learn to pause instead of reacting impulsively. When you feel doubt, you choose to act with courage instead of retreating. This conscious response strengthens mental resilience and builds inner confidence. Self-mastery also requires mental clarity. A distracted mind cannot make powerful decisions. In a world filled with noise, information overload, and constant comparison, protecting your attention becomes essential. Supernatural individuals create routines that support deep thinking. They spend time reflecting on their goals, learning from experiences, and planning intentional action. This clarity allows them to move with purpose instead of drifting aimlessly. Consistency is the true test of mastery. Anyone can feel motivated for a short time, but maintaining discipline over months and years creates real transformation. Daily habits such as focused work, mindful rest, continuous learning, and emotional regulation slowly build a strong foundation. These habits may appear simple, but their long-term impact is extraordinary. Over time, they reshape identity and strengthen self-trust. You begin to believe in your ability to follow through, even when challenges arise. Another powerful aspect of self-mastery is controlling your environment instead of being controlled by it. This means choosing what influences your thinking. It includes the people you spend time with, the content you consume, and the activities you prioritize. Negative surroundings can weaken motivation and reinforce limiting beliefs. Positive, growth-focused environments encourage accountability and inspiration. Supernatural individuals intentionally design their surroundings to support their highest potential. Time awareness also becomes crucial at this stage. Many people live as if time is unlimited, postponing meaningful action. Self-mastery involves recognizing the value of each day. It means making conscious decisions about where to invest energy. Instead of chasing temporary distractions, you focus on actions that create lasting progress. This disciplined relationship with time accelerates development and prevents regret. As mastery deepens, decision-making becomes more powerful. You learn to think long-term rather than reacting to immediate comfort or fear. You evaluate choices based on their alignment with your vision. This strategic thinking reduces impulsive behavior and increases purposeful action. Over time, your life begins to reflect the quality of your decisions. Another transformation that occurs is the ability to remain calm during uncertainty. Life will always present unpredictable situations. Financial challenges, relationship difficulties, or unexpected failures can shake confidence. However, a mastered mind does not collapse under pressure. It stays grounded, analyzes the situation, and looks for solutions. This calm strength is one of the clearest signs of supernatural evolution. It allows you to navigate complexity without losing direction. Self-mastery also includes the willingness to keep learning. No matter how much progress you achieve, there is always another level of understanding to explore. Curiosity keeps the mind flexible and open to improvement. Supernatural individuals read, observe, ask questions, and experiment with new strategies. They treat life as an ongoing classroom. This mindset prevents stagnation and ensures continuous growth. Another powerful realization at this stage is that success is not only about external achievement. True fulfillment comes from alignment between your actions and your values. When you live according to your principles, you experience a deeper sense of peace and purpose. External rewards become meaningful because they reflect inner development rather than replace it. This balance between ambition and integrity creates sustainable happiness. As self-mastery becomes part of your daily life, your influence on others naturally increases. People notice your discipline, clarity, and emotional stability. You become a source of inspiration without needing to seek attention. Your example encourages others to believe in their own potential. This ripple effect turns personal growth into collective progress. Eventually, you reach a stage where fear loses its power to control your direction. Challenges become opportunities to refine your skills. Failures become feedback for improvement. Success becomes motivation for higher goals. You understand that the journey of becoming supernatural is not about reaching a final destination. It is about continuous evolution. Total self-mastery is the realization that you are both the creator and the creation. You design your habits, your mindset, and your response to life. When you accept this responsibility fully, you unlock a level of freedom that many people never experience. You stop waiting for permission or perfect conditions. You act with clarity, confidence, and purpose. This is the final evolution of the supernatural mind, a state where discipline feels natural, focus feels effortless, and growth feels necessary. It is not about being extraordinary in the eyes of others. It is about fully expressing the power that has always existed within you. When you master yourself, you no longer chase potential, you live it. Chapter 12. Infinite Expansion. Living as a creator, not a reactor. At the deepest level of becoming supernatural, a powerful realization begins to take shape. You understand that life is not only something that happens to you, it is something you actively shape through your awareness, choices, and consistent action. Most people live in a reactive state. They wait for circumstances to decide how they feel. They wait for opportunities before they act. They wait for confidence before they take risks. This way of living keeps them trapped in cycles of hesitation and limitation. Infinite expansion begins when you move from reacting to creating. Living as a creator means taking ownership of your internal state, regardless of external conditions. It means understanding that while you cannot control every situation, you can always influence your response. When challenges appear, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking, "How can I grow through this?" This shift in perspective transforms obstacles into catalysts for development. Problems become training grounds for resilience, and uncertainty becomes a space for innovation. One of the key elements of infinite expansion is vision. Without a clear direction, energy becomes scattered and progress slows. A creator mindset involves continuously refining your goals and aligning them with your deeper purpose. This does not mean rigidly controlling every detail of life. It means having a guiding intention that shapes your daily decisions. When your actions are connected to a meaningful vision, motivation becomes more stable and discipline feels more natural. Another important aspect is mental adaptability. The world is constantly changing. New challenges, technologies, and opportunities emerge every day. A reactive mind resists change and clings to outdated beliefs. A creator mind stays flexible. It learns quickly, adjusts strategies, and remains open to new possibilities. This adaptability is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of intelligence and growth. It allows you to remain relevant and effective in unpredictable environments. Emotional independence also becomes essential at this stage. When your happiness depends entirely on external validation, your power remains fragile. Praise can make you feel strong, but criticism can make you collapse. Infinite expansion requires building an inner foundation that does not shake easily. This comes from self-awareness, disciplined habits, and alignment with personal values. When you respect your own effort and progress, you become less dependent on approval. This emotional stability frees you to take creative risks without fear of judgment. Another transformation that occurs is the relationship with failure. In a reactive state, failure feels like a personal defeat. It creates shame, self-doubt, and hesitation. In a creator state, failure becomes feedback. It provides information about what needs improvement. This mindset encourages experimentation and continuous learning. You stop fearing mistakes and start using them as tools for evolution. Over time, this approach accelerates mastery because you are no longer wasting energy on regret. Time perception also changes during infinite expansion. Instead of seeing time as something to be spent or survived, you begin to see it as a resource to be invested. Each day becomes an opportunity to build momentum. Small, intentional actions accumulate into significant progress. You become more conscious of how you use your hours, focusing on activities that align with long-term growth. This awareness creates a sense of urgency balanced with patience, the understanding that transformation takes time, but begins now. Another powerful component is creative thinking. When you live as a creator, you stop accepting limitations as permanent. You start looking for innovative solutions. Whether it is in career, relationships, or personal development, you explore new strategies instead of repeating old patterns. Creativity expands perception. It allows you to see opportunities where others see barriers. This mental flexibility becomes a competitive advantage in both personal and professional life. Spiritual awareness, in a broad sense, often deepens at this stage. This does not necessarily refer to religious belief, but to a sense of connection with something larger than immediate circumstances. You begin to understand that your actions contribute to a bigger story. This perspective brings humility and gratitude. It reminds you that growth is not only about personal success, but also about contributing value to others. Purpose becomes more meaningful when it includes service and positive impact. Infinite expansion also requires courage to outgrow familiar environments. As you evolve, some relationships, habits, or routines may no longer support your direction. Letting go can feel uncomfortable, but it is often necessary for progress. This process is not about rejecting people or experiences with negativity. It is about choosing alignment with your highest vision. Each decision to move toward growth strengthens self-respect and clarity. Another realization that emerges is the importance of balance. Becoming supernatural does not mean constant intensity without rest. Sustainable expansion involves cycles of effort and recovery. Reflection, mindfulness, and moments of stillness help integrate learning and maintain emotional stability. This balance prevents burnout and ensures that progress continues over the long term. As this creator mindset becomes natural, you begin to experience life differently. You notice patterns more clearly. You respond to challenges with curiosity instead of fear. You trust your ability to adapt and grow. This confidence is not based on arrogance, but on experience. You have seen yourself overcome obstacles, build habits, and reshape your identity. This evidence creates a deep sense of inner security. Eventually, infinite expansion leads to a profound understanding. Potential is not a fixed destination, but an ongoing journey. There is always another level of awareness to explore, another skill to develop, another way to contribute. This realization keeps the mind humble, yet ambitious. It encourages lifelong learning and continuous self-refinement. Living as a creator also influences the way you inspire others. Instead of forcing advice or seeking validation, you lead through example. Your discipline, focus, and emotional strength become visible. People feel motivated simply by observing your consistency. This ripple effect multiplies the impact of your growth. Personal transformation becomes a source of collective progress. At this stage, the fear of limitations begins to dissolve. You no longer define yourself by past failures or temporary setbacks. You understand that identity can evolve and that reality can shift through intentional action. This awareness creates freedom, the freedom to pursue meaningful goals, to express creativity, and to live with purpose. Infinite expansion is the realization that life responds to conscious participation. When you think with clarity, act with courage, and persist with patience, you shape outcomes in powerful ways. You move beyond survival thinking into a state of purposeful creation. This is not about controlling every detail of the future, but about becoming prepared to handle whatever future arrives. In the end, becoming supernatural is not about escaping reality. It is about engaging with reality at a higher level of awareness. It is about transforming from someone who waits for change into someone who initiates change. When you live as a creator rather than a reactor, you unlock the deepest form of personal power, the ability to continuously expand your mind, your influence, and your contribution to the world. The journey of becoming supernatural is not about gaining magical powers or escaping the reality of everyday life. It is about discovering the extraordinary strength that already exists within your mind. Throughout this transformation, you learn that your thoughts shape your emotions shape your actions, and your actions shape your destiny. What once felt like fixed limits slowly reveal themselves as mental patterns that can be changed with awareness, discipline, and consistent effort. As you move through this path, you begin to understand that growth is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong process of learning, adapting, and expanding. There will be moments of doubt, setbacks, and uncertainty, but these challenges are not signs to stop. They are signals to become stronger, wiser, and more focused. Each obstacle becomes a lesson that sharpens your character and deepens your resilience. You also realize that true power comes from self-mastery. When you take responsibility for your mindset, habits, and emotional reactions, you stop living as a victim of circumstances. You become the creator of your inner world. This inner transformation naturally influences your outer life. Your goals become clearer, your confidence grows deeper, and your ability to handle pressure becomes stronger. Becoming supernatural also means redefining success. It is not only about achievements, recognition, or material rewards. It is about becoming someone who can think clearly in chaos, act courageously in uncertainty, and remain disciplined when motivation fades. It is about building a life guided by purpose instead of fear, by intention instead of habit. In the end, the greatest transformation is not what you gain, but who you become. When you train your brain to move beyond limitations, you unlock creativity, focus, and emotional strength that many people never experience. You start living with awareness, direction, and inner freedom. Your journey does not end here. Every new goal, every new challenge, and every new lesson becomes another opportunity to evolve. The supernatural mind is not a destination, it is a way of living. And once you commit to this path, you realize that the power to change your life has always been within you.